It's Saturday morning, August 6th, 2016. Calvin Castine in the St. Mary's Cemetery on Champlain Street on Church Street in Champlain. It's approaching 11 a.m. It's shortly after 10:30 right now, and we're here for a special ceremony commemorating the life of Orrie Buskey, who died in Vietnam 50 years ago on August 8th, 1966. His family and close friends and some of the military and the clergy will be here to pay respects on this very sad 50th anniversary. To learn more about Orrie Buskey, you have to go no further than to pick up this collection from Jim Rochester and Border Press, folks at Border Press, on the scrapbooks of people that served in our military. This is book number 2. If you go to page 207, you'll see the start of what is a 5-page tribute to the late Orrie Buskey. I'm going to try to show it as the wind kind of battles with our camera here. Orrie J. Buskey killed in action in Vietnam. He was a private first class, born June 7th, 1946, and perished on August 8th, 1966 at the age of 20. And this is what Orrie Buskey looked like in his military uniform. And going through the story that surrounds this that picture, there's this. Okay, some of the people who are here to honor him coming by and saying their hellos, so we were briefly interrupted. So there's an article, something that tells about his service, and it also lists the 25 people who died in his unit. A company, 25 dead, 36 wounded. And it lists those who perished, including Orrie Buskey in Champlain, New York. But this article not only lists him, but also his mates who died at around that same time. So there's an obituary from the newspaper and other articles that surround the history of Orrie Buskey. And again, it's available from Border Press, and there's a whole lot. I was at page 207, and if I go to the back of the book, I see there are 308 pages in the book. So a lot of history packed in there about the military and the people who served. Each war is broken down, and there was a volume 1. But each war is broken down, and even starts with a little bit about this Revolutionary War, then it jumps to the Civil War. And then, of course, as we get into the more modern era with the World War I and World War II, and Korean, Vietnam, and even into beyond there, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and people who are Kuwait, Iraq, and people who were serving when this book was put out a couple of years ago. So it's a fascinating little book. If your local library doesn't have it, contact Border Press, and I'm sure they'll make a copy available. And it's packed full of history of the northern tier of Clinton County. But we're here today to pay our respects to Orrie Buskey, who 50 years ago gave his life for his country in the war in Vietnam. This is the marker on Orrie Buskey's cemetery plot. The American Legion from Post 912 in Rouse's Point will be providing the bulk of the, if not all, the military honors. And Robert St. John, who himself has done a lot of research on the military history of in and around Champlain, and was a first cousin of Orrie Buskey, will be given the a little talk here today and leading some of what we're about to see.
I want to welcome everybody here this morning. We are here today to honor the memory of Orrie J. Buskey, who made the supreme sacrifice to his country 50 years ago. It is hard to believe that it has been 50 years to his family and friends, because to them it seems it was only yesterday. Hopefully today, with so many civilian and veteran friends present, the family of Orrie will finally feel they are getting closure. I will also be sharing with you the data of how Orrie and 4 other town of Champlain men made the supreme sacrifice during the Viet Nam War. At this time, Father Lewis will lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. All-powerful God, whose mercy is never withheld from those who call upon you in hope, look kindly upon your servant Orrie and all the others who departed this life confessing in your name and gave their lives in service of our beloved country. Number them among your saints forever. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
At this time, do we have any family members that would like to say a few words?
Well, Orrie was my brother, and in fact, he's a very good brother, good friend, and dedicated serviceman. A lot of times we forget all the good things, or sometimes we want to keep them inside. But just having you people here today shows you how honorable he was, and we all appreciate it. And I thank you very much, each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Any other members of the family? At this time, John Zerlo.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here this morning at this memorial representing Champlain Central School, its faculty, its staff, and its student body. I met Orrie in 1960 when I began my teaching career, and Orrie was in several of my classes. He was a very popular student who came to class very well prepared, and he took an active role in class discussions. He was also very athletic and participated in soccer and basketball programs that I coached. On several occasions during our private conversations, Orrie mentioned his wanting to serve in the military when called into school. Orrie, we haven't seen you in 50 years, but I want you to know you are not forgotten. You gave the ultimate sacrifice, your life, for what you believed in. The youth today gain much by learning of heroes such as yourself. There are 58,000 names on the Viet Nam Veterans Wall. Every single one of them has a story that we can keep alive. Today's memorial is extremely important, as it will keep Orrie's story alive. Today we not only honor service and sacrifice, but this memorial keeps alive in some way what was special about Orrie and where he came from. Orrie, Thank you for protecting the freedoms we enjoy today. Thank you for your patriotism and willingness to serve in the military. And thank you for the sacrifice you have made for our country. We will never forget you. Rest in peace, my friend. I'm here also this morning representing Senator Betty Little. Upon hearing of this memorial, and one who is very supportive of the military, Betty asked me to present the Liberty Commendation to the family. And it reads, New York State Senate Liberty Award, presented for exceptional valor and dedication on behalf of the people of the state of New York. This award hereby honors Orrie Julius Buskey, Private First Class, United States Army, June 7, 1946, August 8, 1966, South Vietnam. This was dated on the 5th of August, signed by Senator Betty Little. She also asked me to present to the family the New York State Liberty Award. So I'd like to present this to Lily or Lillian or Paul, whoever wants to receive this. I had all the Buskies in class, so it doesn't make any difference. Great to see you. Here you go.
I thought you were giving me a bill.
Oh, no, you can have some of mine. I got plenty.
I don't know about that.
Just go right in. Thank you very much. I'm certainly proud to be here.
Paul Buskey, and that's Clinton County Clerk John Zerlo, who was a school teacher at Champlain
Anybody
Central.
else for remarks? Celine Podcast.
Thank you to the Buskey family for inviting me here today to participate in commemorating the 50th anniversary of your brother's death in Vietnam. It's a privilege and an honor to be here with you today. I grew up on a farm on Prospect Street, the same street as the Buskey family. I did not know Orrie, but I knew his parents, Julius and Pauline St. John Buskey. They were wonderful people who came to the farm to get milk. I also knew Orrie's grandparents and his grandpa, after whom he was named, Orrie St. John. I am sure my husband is looking down on us today and on the Buskey family, and pleased that we are remembering Orrie. Larry loved the Buskey family kids, and he's right here in spirit with us. It is commendable that the Buskey brothers and sisters organized today's events. After all these years, you have not forgotten your brother. We cannot and will not forget the sacrifices made and the courage displayed by Orrie and all our military. Without their sacrifice and courage, the world would be a different place today. And we all know and remember the young men who fought in Vietnam and the lack of a much-deserved welcome home. My own brother Robert served in Vietnam as a Marine. He was wounded, but fortunately he is with us today. Orrie made the ultimate sacrifice and gave his life so that we could continue to enjoy our freedom. When I speak to groups of young students, I remind them that freedom is not free. I tell them stories I heard from my friends who live in Eastern European countries and how they have suffered and continue to suffer. We are so fortunate and we should be so grateful. Today we are witnesses to someone who paid dearly for this freedom that we and all Americans enjoy. We are here to remember an extraordinary human being who was the recipient of 2 Purple Hearts. I am not in a possession of a Purple Heart, but I can tell you that my heart is with the Buskey family today and every day. Thank you for inviting me.
Celine Racine Paquette.
Is there anybody else? At this time, I would like to share with you the bios and the circumstances and data of the 5 men from the town of Champlain who made the supreme sacrifice in Vietnam. I will start off with Orrie. Orrie Julius Buskey, Private First Class, 8 Company, 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment, 1st Cavalry Division. On 1 August 1966, units of the 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry were inserted into the Ai Drang Valley for a search and destroy operation named Paul Revere II. Although ample evidence of the enemy's presence was found during the first week, the 1st Division 7th Cavalry had little contact with enemy forces. That changed shortly after noon on the 8th of August when A Company made contact with a large enemy force near Landing Zone Juliet. The 3rd Platoon was on point and made the official contact with the North Vietnamese Army. They aggressively pursued and were immediately hit by several enemy heavy light and heavy machine guns, cutting them off from the rest of the company. Most of the 3rd Platoon was able to exfiltrate back to A Company perimeter, where the company found itself under very heavy attack. By 1500 hours, artillery and airstrikes had discouraged the NVA, which broke contact and withdrew into the jungles. The price paid by A Company was very high. 25 dead, 36 more wounded, and Orrie was one of those 25. We also lost 1st Lieutenant Thomas Farrell Eldridge. 1st Lieutenant Thomas F. Eldridge was stationed at Chu Lai, South Vietnam, and assigned to VMA 211 and piloted an A4 Skyhawk. On December 29, 1965, a squad of Marines in South Vietnam were pinned down by a .50 caliber machine gun manned by Viet Cong under cover of a ledge. The Marines called in close air support to their position to take out the machine gun. 1st Lieutenant Eldridge was one of the Marine pilots to respond and came in with his A4 Skyhawk, firing his 20mm cannon and dropping his 500-pound napalm bomb and taking out the .50 caliber machine gun. As he was completing his run, his aircraft was hit by bullets from another .50 caliber in the area. At 13 miles from Chu Lai, he radioed that his plane had been hit and he had been shot in both legs and that his plane was going down. At this time, the decision not to try and recover his body was made by the base commander, as the area was too dangerous and in control of the Viet Cong. He didn't want to lose more men. Lieutenant Eldridge was listed as missing in action and several days later listed as killed in action. During the first week of June 1966, when the crash site was under U.S. control, the remains of Lieutenant Thomas Eldridge were recovered. His remains arrived in Rouse's Point on Friday, June 24, 1966, and a military funeral with Marines present was conducted Saturday, June 25, 1966, at 2 p.m. in Maple Hill Cemetery, located in Rouse's Point. The next one was John Francis Snow. He was an aviation structural mechanic 7th class on the USS Forrestal, the 7th Fleet. His incident date when he was killed was 7/29/1967. It was in the Gulf of Tonkin off North Vietnam. And what took place there was when they had an aircraft that was sitting on the aircraft carrier dropped a surface-to-air missile on the deck of the Forrestal. And John Snow was one of those that was killed when that incident happened. The next one is Robert Allen LaFountain, United States Marine Corps, Private First Class Rifleman, M Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division. Incident date was March 28, 1968, in Tu Tin Province, South Vietnam. He was a ground casualty. And his start of tour was February 9th, 1968. And again, his casualty date was March 28th, 1968. So he wasn't in country very long before he was killed. And the last one, John Norman Huntley, Private First Class, 57th Air Division, 17th Air Group, 1st Aviation, United States Army, Private First Class. He was a U-1H helicopter repair and door gunner. PFC John Huntley was the door gunner aboard a U-1H helicopter from the 57th Aviation Company, 17th Aviation Group, on an extraction mission in Laos. The helicopter was to extract a Special Forces long-range reconnaissance patrol in Ah Tu Province. As the helicopter was lifting from the extraction zone, 4 men attached by Maguire rigs, they were receiving heavy volumes of enemy fire. When the helicopter reached an altitude of 400 feet, gunfire hit the engine and the helicopter began falling. The pilots were able to slow the descent somewhat by auto-rotation, but survivors of the incident reported that after the helicopter was hit, it bounced, twisted, and came to rest burning on its right side. The crew members temporarily lost consciousness, and when they regained consciousness, the pilot and co-pilot were dragging the apparently lifeless body of Huntley from beneath the helicopter. While they were doing this, they were knocked down by the explosion of the helicopter and had to stop their attempts to rescue the door gunner. Because of intense enemy activity, no further attempts were made to recover Huntley, and it is assumed that his body was consumed by the blazing aircraft. He was listed as killed, body not recovered, with a strong possibility that the enemy knows his fate. Huntley is one of nearly 600 Americans lost in Laos. Although his case seems clear, others cannot be resolved so easily. Many of the pilots and men on the ground lost in Laos were alive the last time they were seen. Some were in radio contact with would-be rescuers. A few were photographed in captivity. Although the Pathet Lao stated publicly that they held tens of American prisoners, the U.S. refused to negotiate with a government they did not officially recognize. Consequently, no American held in Laos has ever been released. Although the young door gunner lost on September 27, 1969, is apparently never going to come home, one can imagine him eagerly providing covering fire in an attempt to bring his comrades to freedom. At this time, Ron and Mary.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Roland Juno and Mary McCaffrey.
Sorry, the wind is a little funky today.
Again, this is the morning of August 6, 2016.
Roland and I are thrilled to be here. We're absolutely honored to be with us. Thank you. songs here. I don't believe I just did that. Apologize for the delay.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. For His grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious is that grace appeared the hour I first believed. Many dangers, toils, and snares we have already come. It was grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will bring us home. Would you like to sing it? I'd love to Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
And so we don't forget why we're here. For our boys and our country.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, or amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on
McCaffrey and Roland Juno.
Thank you, Mary. Take your
Thank
on.
you. Thank you all.
At this time, we will be rendering military honors to Orrie and the over 58,000 men and women that gave their life in Vietnam. This will consist of 3 volleys of fire, the sounding of taps, and the folding of the flag. Commander, honor our fallen comrades.
Honor guard. Mark on. Ready, arm. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Present. On. Order. Arm. Hurry. Ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, this now concludes our memorial service. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, Robert St. John, the man running the show here today from American Legion Post 912, and a cousin of Orrie Buskey. This is a military service for Orrie Buskey, PFC Orrie Buskey, who was killed in Vietnam on August 8th, 1966. 50 years ago, today is August 6th, he was killed on August 8th, so it's approaching the 50th anniversary of that tragic event for the Buskey family. So I know a lot of the volume will be kind of low, there's no PA system here, and a little bit of a breeze, so it may have cut into the sound, but still a ceremony worth recording. So as soon as the family is done, we'll conclude. It looks like historian Paquette will also play a rose on the grave.